and welcome to the first round of the Monster Movie Tournament. Now, let's recap the first round matchups. Here are the matchups in the first round of our tournament. Let's start with number 1, Atragon, versus number 8, the Giant Claw. I first watched Atragon on DVD via rental. Now, having seen this movie once, and not too long ago, I didn't expect much of a change, in my opinion. But I would be watching the movie without the expectation of seeing Manda that much in it. Manda is the monster of the movie, and it's actually the reason that Atragon would be in this tournament. The movie doesn't really focus on Manda, rather it focuses on the people who control it, the Mu Empire, and also the super submarine, Atragon, which is actually going to be used in the movie to defeat Manda and the Mu Empire. Even though I wish Manda would have been in the movie more, Atragon is actually a pretty good movie to watch. So, I give it a 72. So, next up is the Giant Claw, which of course is another DVD rental that I had, and I would watch this according to the rules the following day. I never saw the Giant Claw before, but I have seen several clips of it, and I felt like I should go ahead and include it. The movie itself is basically like other typical low-budget American monster movies of the 50s. It has a ridiculous monster that you would almost never see in the movie, because about 80% of it is about these people just talking and using some ridiculous dialogue at times, such as the part many times in the movie where they refer to the Giant Claw as a flying battleship. The movie itself might not be so bad if it wasn't so boring, just waiting for something to happen. However, when something does eventually happen and you get to see the monster, for instance, the monster is so ridiculous and some of the scenes are so stupid that it feels embarrassing just to watch it. Leaves me shaking my head. Excuse me. Is that boring movie finally over? I give the Giant Claw 48. Which means, by a score of 72 to 48, Atragon is our winner. Now it's time for the matchup that I am most eager to get to. That's right, it's time for Inframan. Inframan is power. Let's go. What's this? Dadgum. I forgot that Inframan was the lower seed. That means I'm going to have to do Gamera vs. Monster X first. Well, it's time for another DVD rental. So as I said, Gamera vs. Monster X is a DVD that I rented. I remember the first time that I actually watched Gamera vs. Monster X, and I didn't really care for it. The main reason for this is because it was like so many other Gamera movies that were coming out during that time period. They were low-budget movies, which isn't a big deal, but then you've got the kids as the central characters, and they're surrounded by these stupid, know-nothing adults that make the kids look like they're the brilliant ones and can solve all the problems. The kids are allowed to be part of these top-level meetings and actually have ideas in these meetings that work. Of course, though, they always revolve around Gamera, but even some of the non-Gamera ideas that they throw out work. And the leader's ideas never really seem to work. Well, even though I said all those things about Gamera vs. Monster X, it was actually pretty good this time, and I enjoyed watching it. So I feel it deserves a nice, decent score. So I give it a 76. Okay. Enough with all this. Inframan, let's go! First, let me say that I have always loved the movie Inframan from since I was a child. And the best way to describe is like Power Rangers long before there even was Power Rangers. So I sat down, watched this movie, and things were just getting good in the movie when something happened. Gotta go out? I sat down again, and then what you want? Are you hungry? Grief. Yeah. Then once that was done, then once I sat down, thinking everything was finally done, what the world? God. So after all the distractions were finally done, I finally got back to the movie to watch it. I just didn't have the satisfaction that I thought I would have with the movie. Maybe it is from the distractions. Maybe it was all the hype. Just didn't live up to. So the best that I could give it was a 75. Wait a minute. 75? That means Gamera vs. Monster X won. And Inframan lost. Wait a minute. Inframan lost? How could this happen? There's no way that I could have had this happen. Inframan is supposed to win it all. They couldn't even beat Gamera vs. Monster X? Oh my goodness. There ain't no telling what the world's gonna happen. Ah. So when I finally recovered from my depressive state after that unbelievable loss, I got up and went on to my next matchup, which was Number 2, Varan the Unbelievable versus number 7, Gamera Super Monster. First, we start with Varan as the higher seed, and I owned it on DVD. This movie is made by Toho, and this is the same company and same people, director, who made Etrigan. But unlike Etrigan, Varan's actually in the movie a lot more than Manda. In fact, Varan's in the movie so much that the movie itself suffers from a lack of a cohesive plot or even a storyline, which was actually a strength in Etrigan. It was also oddly a little boring at times. This is strange because the monster is in the movie a lot. I mean, I don't understand exactly why it was boring at times, but I did almost fall asleep a couple times. Varan sure is unbelievable. It's unbelievable how slow and boring this movie is. I mean, come on. The monster's in the movie 80% of the time, so you would expect it to be exciting, and there's almost no plot or story in the movie, so you would think this would be a great monster movie to watch. But for some reason, I almost fell asleep several times watching the movie. Maybe I was still depressed with Inframan losing. Still, I give it a 73. Well, now let's go on to Gamera Super Monster, which I owned on DVD. Now understand, at the time of the purchase, I could not find this movie by itself anywhere. So, I went and bought a version of it that was riffed on, sort of like Mystery Science Theater, and it was from Mr. Lobo. And the reasoning behind it was I've seen plenty of Mystery Science Theaters, and they're close enough to the actual movie that I figured this would probably work. Oh boy, was I wrong. The constant interruptions were not so bad. I mean, even though they were a few minutes apart, and it seemed like every couple of minutes there would be another interruption, but I could live with that. But what really drove me crazy was the advertisements or trailers of other movies that they would keep on bringing, and they would be the same ones multiple times. And I feel like I only saw about 30 minutes of the whole movie. It was ridiculous. The movie itself was not that good from what I saw, and probably would not have won, but all the other stuff was junk. And rarely do I get upset when watching something, but I must say, I was repulsed. I mean, this format was horrible. I mean, what the world was this? MST3K would actually bring the movie and they would make witty commentary on it. I barely watched 30 minutes of the movie, I think. Not that the movie probably would have won, because I wasn't real impressed with it anyway, but still. I mean, all these trailers the Mr. Lobo version if you're looking to watch the Gamera Super Monster. They do now have the actual movie by itself with Gamera versus Ziggura. So buy that one instead. You can actually get 2 movies with it. But as for this piece of junk, I'm getting rid of it as soon as I can. What's the score, you might ask? 22. My high school basketball team could score more points than it got right there. Never again will I do something like that. Never. What's the next movie? Oh, I forgot. Not like I had to remind you, but 73, yeah, I think Baron won. I don't think it was even close. Alright, next matchup. Alright, let's go to the last matchup that we have of the first round. Dinosaurus versus Legend of the Dinosaurs. Or Legend of Dinosaurs. Or Legend of the Dinosaurs and Prehistoric Birds. I don't know, it's got like 500 different titles. Whatever you want to call it. And, of course, we're going to start with Dinosaurus. Now let me start by saying that I owned and watched both movies many times when I was young, as a kid. I actually don't have the movie Dinosaurus anymore because of a VHS issue that I had many years ago. So, I'm going on the computer and upload it via streaming, and hopefully this will be a good movie, because I really need it after that Gamera Super Monster fiasco. Have you ever watched a movie and at the very beginning of the movie you were blown away? That is what happened in this case. I can remember the movie Dinosaurus from when I was young, but I really did not remember the music that well. I am reminded of Jaws 2 without the da-da-da-da part of the movie at the beginning. I don't know why, but that's kind of what the music reminds me of. The movie itself is good, although the kid that's in the movie is irritating at times because he talks too much at certain times, and it gets irritating. But the music says it all. It creates a mood at times in the movie when it's supposed to be really scary. It's got that eerie feel. When it's more actiony, it's got that actiony feel. So it really does a good job. And I've really not noticed that in any other movies so far. But I know the next movie will. Because that's one of the things that stand out from it. Simply, Dinosaurus creates a mood with the music that none of the other movies have done for me so far. Yes, that child is irritating at times, and that's the only thing that's going to hold it back from a really good score. But still, it was a much needed recovery from Gamera Super Monster, and I'll give it 74. Alright, it's time for Legend of the Dinosaurs, or whatever you want to call it. I own this on VHS, although it's not the same VHS that I had when I was young. And watching it, I kind of forgot how weird this movie was. I knew it was weird, but the movie is just so weird that it was actually perfect for Mystery Science Theater 3000 when the show was first starting and bringing episodes in Minnesota. There was actually a YouTube video available that has parts of each video if you want to kind of check that out. It is one of my favorite MST3Ks for some reason, I guess because of the combination of the movie and the old style that they use in it. The music, obviously, is my favorite part of the movie, even if it's a very odd score for this particular movie. But it just works for me. This movie itself would be great if it wasn't so slow in the middle parts of the movie. So, great beginning, great ending, good parts in the middle, but it just goes too slow. Oh, Legend of the Dinosaurs. You're such a weird movie, and your music is so catchy. You could have won if you weren't so slow in developing your plot. Why does the middle of the movie have to be so boring? I still suggest that you watch this if you haven't seen it. You might find it entertaining, or it could just be nostalgia on my part. Watch the MST3K version if you really want to laugh. But as for the score, the ending was good. The beginning was kind of weird going through, but overall the middle was pretty slow at times. So I'll give it a 69, which means 74 to 69. Dinosaurs got a much-deserved win. And so it moves on. And our entire first round is now complete. And we are ready to start the second round. We're going to have 4 movies that won, 2 different matchups, and we're going to have those watched and reviewed for next month when we do the second round before we get into the final. Well, thanks for watching, and until the next month or the next Trojanpear video, this is the Trojanpear, reminding you to enjoy the movie.